Welcome to Go Gonzo episode 5. It's very nice to have you back here in the Go Gonzo. Go Gonzo, what should we call it? Movement. It is a movement. What I anyways wanted to be is a movement of good ideas to build even greater ideas upon. So, sort of like a foundation thing that that there is enough evidence and common sense that we start making the world a healthier and a better place. Just a set of core values and principles that we have somehow lost in this capitalistic world, capitalistic and very what has become of the world is like a capitalist communist world where big companies buy up all the small ones and then they start making even cheaper products and more consumerism. But we will go through these points. We have a lot of things. I have actually the comments I got from last episode is that I should ditch my Finnish rally English. I don't know if I'm capable of doing it because I love the Finnish rally English too much. But anyways, I will try. I will try to listen to all you because I love you. I wouldn't be doing this episode if it wasn't for you. Let's try to build a world of reason here. We have to stand up. It's always going always to be like this in civilization, and when there is humans that we sort of lose our values and we go into the wrong fights and we fight for the wrong things, and we have to remember that all the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So we really need to figure out the foundations that we are building upon our society. Okay, so this is going to be mostly about farming again, but then I'm starting to write the next episode that is going to be more about technology, because I'm also very interested into technology, and there's also the same things that there needs to be core principles if we want to do things, if we don't want to fall into tyranny. And that is very easily done with technology, that big corporations own everything and they can that they want to track us and even make the world into a control state. This is what sadly a lot of politicians and people are lobbying for. But to the good news, because we will start with the good. We will travel again. We will travel now to Spain, where they sort of they are doing the Lord's work once again. They are restoring farmlands in the desert, and like this is so simple and elegant solution to desertification that please the world take notice what they are doing in Spain. Let's go straight away and check it out. So they are. It's a video by no other than Andrew Millison again, my permaculture hero, one of my permaculture heroes, and also like makes really a lot of videos about good stuff that is happening around in the world. So without further ado, let's go to Spain and to really the southern part of Spain. Okay, let's go.
There are over 2 billion acres of desolate, salty wasteland across the planet. What if I told you that this could be turned into productive agriculture without using a single drop of fresh water? Well, we can. By searching the world for rare plants that can grow in salt water, an entirely new form of agriculture, unlocking the endless supply of ocean waters being developed, including this 4,500-acre site in southern Spain. Thanks for meeting me, Yannick. I've been super fascinated by this concept of regenerative seawater agriculture. This sounds like something out of a science fiction utopia. I want to learn exactly how this works.
So behind us, this looks like a salt marsh, but it's also a farmed and engineered salt marsh with virtually the two most abundant resources in the world, degraded land and saltwater, what we call saline agroecologies. So combining the restoration and building of ecosystems with farming them.
So what's the secret to getting food to grow in saltwater?
The vast majority of crops that we eat and use commercially, they can't survive in salt. Most plants can, but there's over 3,000 different species of plants that can grow in salt water, and these are called halophytes. And the reason why they can is that over millennia they've evolved to be able to either process the salt or actually prevent the salt from coming into the membranes. What's great about this plant and a lot of these perennial halophytes is at each level you have a different commercial value. So in the carbon and the roots, you can sell that as carbon credits. Then you have these long woody stems that make an excellent building material like a fiberboard that can be used as an animal feed. And then you have the green tips at the top. That's a high-value vegetable or an animal feed. So at the very tips where the seeds are produced, that's a really high-value cooking oil and even a biofuel. We're using conventional agricultural technology and equipment, so tractors and harvesters that are retrofitted to be able to access waterlogged and marshy terrain. We're regularly seeing yields per year per hectare of over 30 tons. So when you compare that to barley or wheat, where it's 5, 6, 7 tons per hectare per year, there's a bit more water content in this biomass, but that's many times more. We've grown these halophytes in some of the harshest conditions where nothing else can survive. Sometimes they are completely flooded, sometimes of the year they're in extremely dry soil. And the resilience of these species is not because of genetic modification or breeding. These are natural plants. When you look at them closely, you see that they are succulents. So they're actively storing a lot of water and moisture. These are multi-year, deep-rooted plants. They grow and they survive for decades. So they're soil builders and are really prolific biomass producers. Because they're perennial, we're able to cut the top of the biomass 3 or 4 times a year, and it doesn't affect the plant, doesn't harm the plant. The roots keep growing and capturing carbon, and we're able to extract sustainably from that without having to ever plow the fields or till the land or do anything to the soil. We don't use fertilizers or pesticides because the saltwater is a natural fertilizer and a pesticide. Seawater is some of the most nutrient-dense fertilizer you can imagine, and it's free, and it's just flowing onto our site. So there are hardly any inputs here. It makes our job as farmers extremely easy.
By using seawater, they have unlocked an infinite resource. Fresh water is the most limiting element to agriculture around the planet. But this type of agriculture that runs on salt water completely eliminates the needs for fresh water while producing perennial yields.
absolutely astonishing. Like, thank you, Andrew Millison, for this video. Thank you to the team who is doing this amazing work. Like, we can restore ecological systems if we only understand them. Then we can do amazing things. I'm just going ahead a little bit because naturally there will occur that insects and animals will find these new lands with perennials and vegetation, and then when insects and animals move in, they will even further make the ecological systems go even further. And this is the next step that what we can do. We can introduce some cattle or other animals, and this is what they are doing in America, where we're going to travel next to see what they're up to there. Let's go there straight away.
What if we could turn this into this, and even into this? Large parts of North America were once covered with wild grassland as far as the eye could see. This natural wonder was described as the American Serengeti, where large iconic wildlife roamed the landscape. Now, one organization is bringing it back. They are trying to create over 3 million acres of uninterrupted grasslands by buying up old cattle farms and restoring them to the wild habitats they once were. So we sent Cameron into the heart of Montana to help bring back the animals of the old Wild West and to discover the surprising power of grass. We're Planet Wild. Welcome to Mission 19.
Check it out.
And indeed, something is missing from this picture. Only 200 years ago, this place could be described as the American Serengeti and extended across more than 240 million acres. Paintings from this time are a rare insight into what this actually looked like. A truly wild grassland where giant herds of bison and elk stretched to the horizon. Indigenous Americans lived alongside them for thousands of years, but the arrival of European settlers changed everything. They pushed indigenous peoples off their land and hunted most of the animals to the brink of extinction.
So you see, it's all about restoring ecological systems, and then we can actually use that to feed us. And but we have to sort of we have to understand it to be able to first restore them, and then we can live on it. Let's check out. Still we're in America, so let's not travel away, because we're gonna go to another farm, Oakland, white oak pastures. And then they've been doing some scientific research about the difference between grass-fed cattle and like very heavy industrialized cattle farming. Which is not natural at all, because they will explain this. So let's just go make them a visit, shall we? So they are using. We go to their home site, and let's start with this.
A
beautiful morning at White Oak Pastures, an organic farm in Bluffton, Georgia. Sounds of nature fill the air. The connection between land and animal is unmistakable.
This is everything working the way it's supposed to work. It's all the cycles of working.
Will Harris's family has farmed this land for more than 150 years.
We seek to emulate nature. We call it biomimicry. But the way we farm land actually improves the land. It actually brings greenhouse gases from the atmosphere and sequesters it in the soil as organic matter.
He makes a clear distinction between how he runs his operation and the kind of mass meat production that's been found to damage the environment.
I'm one of the few good old boys that used to farm industrially and came to regenerative humane production practices. But we say it's not the cow, it's the how. I agree that industrial beef production puts enormous amounts of greenhouse gases up. It does degrade the organic matter, microbial life, water aggregation in the soil. We slaughter 35 head of cattle in a day. A big industrial plant will slaughter 400 head per hour. It's different industries.
He believes the focus should be on addressing industrial farming, not turning plants into meat.
Meat is the flesh of an animal. I think it's really interesting that in 2019 we're having to decide what is meat. Well, I guess I don't really care if they call it meat or not. And, I've always been told that imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. So if they want to call it meat, that's fine.
You see, imitation is the best form of flattering. If they want to call it meat, is referring to artificial meat, what they are up to. But we will take that a little bit later. Let's see the carbon footprint of White Oak Pastures, because they made a breakdown of it, and it's here. So the net total emissions is minus 3.5, while conventional beef is where it's very highly industrialized, and they are feeding the cattle corn, which the cattle doesn't. Their stomach are not made for this. They're made for eating grass, but they are feeding them corn, and then also because it makes them sick. Then they feed then they feed them medicine and all kinds of. So we are eating food that is sick, like. So once we do it natural ways, we see that it's not disturbing the ecosystem in any ways. It's actually just good for the ecosystem. So how can we not come to common sense with these things and just have a lot of grasslands with cattle? Like in Finland, we could have highland cattle, for example, because they can be outside whole year around, because they survive in cold climates. So you see, it's absolutely crazy times if we think about what politicians are lobbying for and institutions. So let's. I'm gonna put all these links in the description, but here is a link. Here is the study made, the science behind this, and it's all. We know this. We know this thing that cattle is the way to go if we want organic farms. There's no other way around this. And we know this. We know this. We just know it. When we understand ecological systems, we can restore them and help them, nurture them. So he talked a little bit, this farmer talked a little bit about regenerative farming. And that's one way of doing it. That's Wikipedia. That so it's like it's a conservation and rehabilitation approach to food and farming systems in focus on topsoil regeneration, increasing biodiversity, improving the water cycle, enhancing ecosystem services, supporting biosequestration. What is this? I don't know this. Increasing resilience to climate change and strengthening the health and vitality of farm soil. Carbon. Okay, yeah. Storing carbon in the soil, which cattle does best. And institutions and politicians are blaming cattle for being like a problem to global warming. It can't be. It can't be farther. They cannot be farther from the truth here. And livestock not only produce meat. So livestock, as I've been telling here, you get organic fertilizer, you get manure, which store the carbon in the soil and helps with the biodiversity and the microbiology in the soil, and you get milk, you get eggs, you get leather, you get all kind of products from animals, and once we have this positive feedback loop, we can live with nature and ecological systems and animals and be a part of this paradise where we are living on this planet. We can make this a paradise if we want to, but that actually we need to sort of understand that it is possible, and that this will make us healthier, and actually we will have more value to our life, because animals are a great value to your life. If you have been living with some kind of animal, you know this. If you have dogs, if you have cats, you know that animals are a really great value, adds great value to your life. That's a fact. So let's go traveling some more. Now let's travel to the biggest country in the world. Let's go to Russia and up northern Siberia to Pleistocene Park. I don't know if you have ever heard about this, but this is absolutely astonishing what this mad scientist, Russian scientist, has been doing there for a decade, I think, decades. So let's jump in. I should have it there.
Don't ask me how many animals I want. I want to have maybe 200 million of horses. Also, I want to have maybe 200 million of bison. I think it's optimum for our planet. What I see in history, it looks like humans don't want to see wild animals in our planet. Humans want to occupy all landscapes alone and kill all wild. I do propaganda. Looks, please, how beautiful these animals. Let
I just need to. I also do propaganda.
present this territory for wild. Because life on our planet and climate will stable only if it will be wild. If wild will survive.
Так, сколько здесь? Раз, два, три, четыре, пять, шесть, семь, восемь, девять. We are not trying to invent a bike. My father and I want to restore ecosystems which were on this place before first humans came to this land, which will not only make this a northern Serengeti, but will also allow to mitigate climate change.
Dans le sous-sol gelé de la Sibérie, une bombe climatique est amorcée. Le permafrost est en train de fondre.
There's a ticking bomb in this vast remote land, and Sergei Zimov might just be the man to disarm.
His project is ambitious, to recreate an ecosystem that disappeared 10,000 years ago with the end of the Ice Age.
I was living on a sailboat in Alaska when I learned about Pleistocene Park. I'd finished my first documentary and was looking for a new project. I sent Sergei Zimov an email. He wrote back right away, said I should come to Siberia. They live in the far northern corner of Yakutia, an indigenous republic in Russia. I took the short way. It still took me 6 days. Zimov has an impressive list of peer-reviewed publications. He discovered that frozen Arctic soil locks away twice as much carbon as the Earth's atmosphere. It's on the verge of melting. It could set off a runaway feedback loop of warming and melting that makes climate change unstoppable.
Ай-яй-яй. Видите, чем опасно глобальное потепление? Можно сгореть.
One scientist I talked to, called Zimov, the smartest person he'd ever met, and batshit crazy. Here's the crazy part, the part that didn't get peer-reviewed. He thinks he can stop permafrost from melting by restoring the Ice Age mammoth steppe ecosystem. He's thinking big, like converting the northern half of Asia, plus Alaska, and most of Canada, to grasslands full of roaming herds. Like a kind of Willie Noah's Ark, he started bringing animals back and releasing them in Pleistocene Park.
The slide is good, and it's most convenient place to do moving here.
Well, let me stick this microphone on you, Sergey.
This is typical forest, and it's most typical landscape.
I want to go there.
There is nothing to eat for herbivores. Now we will go 100 meters from this place, and I will show how I've changed this type of vegetation after disturbing and grazing of animals. Now it's grassland. Before people occupied this territory, it was typical landscape for this territory. Cutted shrubs, cutted grass, and millions of animals.
We don't really care about blood purity. It can have 5 legs or 6 legs, I don't care. As long as it's in grass, reproduce, make more fertile soils, that's what's the most important. So right now in the park we have around 30 horses, around the same number of reindeer, some moose, bison, few muskox. We need more muskox, clearly. And secondly, it would be nice to have Canadian wood bison. That's clearly the species which we would really love to have.
I don't know.
Okay, so this is a 2-hour documentary and it's very worth watching. You should watch it. I will put a link in the description. But you see, it's shown here that you introduce cattle, animals to ecological system, damaged ecological systems, and they are restored. It's a fact. It's a fact. They have shown it here, and this is like. This is okay. This is on a grand scale, but this documentary is 1 year ago. So they have. I have been following them. They have recently introduced camels there, and who would think that camels are can survive in Siberia? But they have shown because the Pleistocene the animals lived in the Pleistocene era. We know what animals lived on the Pleistocene area because of permafrost, because there's all the bones of the animals are shown. So enough about all the good news. I think I have made enough of good news that now some bad, because this episode is called The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. So I was thinking about saving the good to the last, but we sort of need to say where we are sort of making all the mistakes, and if we don't see that the mistakes we are making, then how can we figure it out? Then we cannot. We have to see where we make the most of our mistakes. So the bad thing, what I already has a little bit talked about in this Go Gonzo episodes is that we are innovating in green energy that is actually just more industry, and it has nothing to do with ecological systems. So we have many companies that have now started to, in 2025 they are starting to make artificial meat in Finland. This is a pilot project in Finland that it has gotten a lot of millions. Like, I counted it to about 50 million in funding for doing this, and then we know when you fund something like this, this kind of industry, that it is away from the rest of the ones who want to do it in ecological ways. I'm not even going to mention these companies now, but we can, who are in on this, but it is like, it's even like one of the biggest milk producers in Finland, Waddaya, is in on this. And I don't understand, how can you be in on something like this when your main products are made with cattle, and as I showed you before, Waddaya is also in on the boba thing, which is just like the, well, it's the tip of the iceberg, and it was the reason why I boiled over and started to make this propaganda, because it is too crazy to be true, and it means that our institutions and companies have lost common sense, and they are just being lobbied into believing these kind of green deals that I don't know where come from, or we can guess where they come from. But let's not go into that now. So how can something be, how can something be how can you make something that you want to make, you want to sell it as meat, and then you sort of use ultra process, you use more industry to make this kind of new meat, but then you use more processing, food processing. Like meat is meat, you know. Meat is like, it's not processed in any way. You heat up the meat, but artificial meat, that's you know it's very much processed. Like, why do we even need this? Because if you don't want to eat meat, you can grow beans, for example. There's protein in beans. Why do the industry want to sell something with the name of meat that is just more processed way of making protein? For example, if you just would you would just farm beans instead, like, it would be much more efficient, and actually that would you can do it in organic ways, or even so it would actually not hurt any ecological system, just benefit. But now what they are doing with this artificial meat, they are going to take some part of from the agro industry, like to feed a mushroom that is the protein, what they're going to put in the artificial meat. So they're going to take some, I don't know, wheat or rye or whatever, maybe rye, they feed it rye, and that's then away from the, it's away from what you could do with the rye otherwise. So, and then you make even more processed food. Like, it's absolutely just completely nuts, in my opinion. There is actually studied, they have studied actually this already, the artificial meat, and it's just not good for you. It's not that good for you. It cannot substitute for real meat. It's to say that it's green, that's just lying right straight to your face. I'm putting some links to these studies in the description. I will put, I'm gonna just see, here was some conclusion in this, but you can look it up. So then we have another issue here, and it's about the whole food industry. So to get the funds to be able to farm, you have to go along with the EU standards made up by the industry. So you are not allowed to take the all the most reasonable ways and all the new innovative ways, and if you want to do it to farm in ecological ways, it's basically you cannot do it because they have made the rules so that you have to sort of oblige, you have to go with their standards, and so you end up with this, that they are controlling the farmers, the policymakers in EU, because EU is, you cannot, the food market, as I've talked before, but I cannot point this out enough, that the food market is so manipulated that you cannot live on farming if you don't have if you don't get some funds from the EU. Like it's the EU who because we are a part of EU, and all, I don't know why, but it seems like all the politicians in Finland are just puppets for EU. Like we don't even make our own rules and regulations anymore. They are just there and getting paid for nothing, and then they make all the rules and regulations in the EU what we can do and what we cannot do. So if you want to make ecological systems, you have to sort of, you cannot be in this system, because you will not get funds, because it's not you're not doing it as they say. So if you want to start, for example, an apple farm, you need to have 400 apple trees per hectare, and that's anybody who knows about ecological systems know that that's not like an ecological way at all, because you will get apple trees that there's not enough of biodiversity, so you will get trees that don't have any fruits at all. So you have to sort of, and then they control the farmers using satellite images, and the farmers need to have a Android phone so they can have an Android app, and they need to go and take photos from the farm, and they check with satellite images that they see that, oh, you don't have 400 apple trees, so then you will lose some of your funds, and it's absolutely bonkers how it works. The EU makes it practically impossible for us to do farming in a beneficial ecological way. So there's no, for example, no program to starting a small permaculture farm. So what we have is industry that feeds an industry, and politicians who are mostly for these industries. So now we come to the ugly. I have here how much how many farms there are in Finland today, as of today. Since 1995, as I told you, our agricultural holdings in Finland have reduced by over a half. So we only have like 44,500 agricultural holdings in Finland with an average farm size of 51 hectare. And of the 134,000 persons working on farms in Finland in 2020, 70% were farmers or farmers' relatives, and only around 9,000 farms employed salaried staff. So that tells us pretty much how good it is to be a farmer. If you don't have enough, if you don't get paid enough that you can have somebody working for you, it's not a lucrative business, if we say like that. But actually it would be if the food market wouldn't be so manipulated. But if you see, farmers cannot sell their products with their own prices. They have to sell it with the market price, and this is absolutely crazy also. Here is no, that has gone bonkers. I had let's see if I can. So I found this database of how many number of livestock per thousand we have had in Finland by year. So from 1920s we had 1,824,000 of cattle total, like almost 2 million cattle in Finland. Then it went down a little. We had some. It went down, but then it went in the 60s. It went up to 2 million, a little over 2 million, and now we go down to, and then we come to, you see, like already in, like for 95, here we joined the EU, and okay, it was before that already reduced a lot, but then we come to 2024, so we have only 793,000. So I see, this is just absolutely like bonkers. We want to have a green. We want to make our world healthier, and we the politicians are constantly telling that we need to be more green and this and that, but statistics say completely other, that we are going in the complete wrong direction here. And so we cannot do organic farming if we don't have cattle. That's just like, or then we need to use our own fertilizer, like our own poop. That's just like or then it's industrialized farming. And What is that? Well, we're going to look at what it is, what we have today, and funds from EU for farming in 2024, 348 million euros. If we divide that for every farm, let's say now, that means 8,629 euros per farm. So I checked some statistics that what we are getting paid for support from Europe. 2022 we got 1.6 billion in support from Europe, but EU, but we paid 2.5 billion to EU. So I don't understand this at all, and well, that's about it, because how I think it's actually yeah. So I think it's the politics nowadays are just, it's too far away from common sense that you cannot even understand them, because they are just being fed the lies of big corporations, and they believe the industries, and we are moving towards tyranny in a big way, and this is the ugly part, because our farmers, they are really between a rock and a hard place. They cannot innovate. They cannot do what they feel is best practice, because they have some idiots that say that you don't get funding if you do it in that way. So they are just they have to, maybe that's why so many in Finland are quitting farming, because of the EU. There's too much bureaucracy, and you need to have like this app nowadays where you have to report all kinds of things, and then we pay people to sit and count trees. Instead of the money that should be going to the farmers, we pay somebody to count trees and tell, oh, there is missing one tree. So if we have a government that doesn't believe in us, we have a government that they want to control every move we make, and they want us to, that we have to report every move we make to them. Well, how long can this system survive? It cannot survive, because you lose. Well, the government lose all credibility in us citizens. If they don't believe in us, if they don't think we are doing good, then how can we believe in them? How can we believe in our government? If they are questioning every move we make, then we need to question every move they make. So we get into this place where we are now, that we are not like, I don't know how many Finns, but a lot of Finns are not trusting institutions and government, and it's for these reasons that there is no common sense left in politics. So so we have this Let's watch one post from Juho Hirvelä. He's doing also the Lord's work with the...
Raw milk is unpasteurized, unhomogenized milk, straight from the animal, and then filtered and refrigerated. So there's really no processing done to it, compared to conventional milk, which is a highly processed food. It's heated sometimes to very high temperatures to kill all the enzymes, any living organism that could be in the milk, with the idea that there are dangerous organisms in the milk. And then the cream is stripped off and then put back in very specific amounts. So even whole milk is not really whole milk. It's been highly processed. And then the homogenization process is especially damaging to the milk. It's forced at very high pressures through teeny tiny little holes, and it breaks down the fat structure of the milk so that it doesn't separate like real milk should. And in that process, the homogenization process, it actually oxidizes the cholesterol that's in the milk and makes it a dangerous form of cholesterol, whereas the cholesterol that's in raw milk is actually beneficial to the body. People drank raw milk for thousands of years, and it was really around the turn of the 20th century that raw milk kind of started getting looked at in an unfavorable light. They put a lot of dairies in cities next to distilleries, and basically they would be inside of a building being fed the spent grains from distilleries, and it made these cows extremely unhealthy. They would actually add chalk to the milk to make it look like milk, because it was so watery, and these cows got tuberculosis, and it spread like wildfire through these industrial dairies. And I mean, just disease was rampant in these dairies. And then the pasteurization process came about, and it basically made this milk drinkable and without killing you. And that's kind of when there started to be a change in how people looked at milk. I mean, at that time there was still a lot of small farms out in the countryside that produced quality milk, but as more and more people moved to the city and fewer people raised cows on a small scale, basically the pasteurized milk became the norm for everybody. And I think we're still left with that legacy that the state inspectors and federal inspectors still want to think that raw milk is unsafe when it actually can be produced extremely safe. There's been no deaths from raw milk in the last 15 years, but if you look in the media headlines, you wouldn't think that. You would think it's the most dangerous food out there. But it can be done safe, and it is being done safe. And by the federal government's own estimates, 3% of the population drinks raw milk on a regular basis. So if it was such a dangerous food, we'd be seeing people sick left and right, and we just don't see it. Chief fear from drinking raw milk is E. coli, and it's interesting how that came about, and it came about in the big dairies that are so against us drinking raw milk. When the cows eat a lot of grain, which they do in the commercial dairies, their rumen becomes acidic, and in the past, if it's a grass-fed cow, their rumen is fairly neutral, and so even if they have E. coli in their gut, and if it does get into the milk, the acid in our stomachs would kill that. But these cows with this acidic rumens, the E. coli have evolved to withstand the acid in their rumen, so when we consume them, the acid in our stomach doesn't kill it, and that's where the pathogens have spread. So it's kind of ironic that the ones who are most against raw milk, have been the ones that have basically proliferated the danger that comes from raw milk.
Yes. So first you you create a problem and then you blame someone else. Right? Then you blame the cow and then you start feeding the cow poison. Yeah. But it's okay for big corporations to move in and do experimental ideas and to make the industry more intensive and in the name of green technology. That's good. That's good. This is how they tell like 15% Finnish farms is organic. So this is what the rest of the Finnish farms, like this is what they tell how you should do it. This is in Finnish, but it's very funny when you start to look at this. How you should grow the food in industrial ways. So then we go here. Let's see. We have some thermoseeds. Let's see. Where is how to here? For example, here. So. This is for wheat. So then you need to have some kind of I have the wrong camera. Then you need to have some kind of I hope you can see this. So this is how they think. Oh shit, why is this like that? Okay, so you need to put something on the seed first, something that we don't know what is, some Quinto Plus, and they have like all kinds of strange names for this. What you have to put on the things on the land. So some Broadway, Star, and Priaxor, Terpal, Desis, Mega, Prosaro, and Roundup. That we know what it is, but like this is even the farmers don't know what this shit is that they are putting on the fields. Like it's just some kind of we don't know, and this is like they have probably mined this from something, or that it's some produced in some. Well, I know that in Germany we buy a lot of pesticide from there, and they actually use it's actually the same factories that made the poison to kill the Jews back in the days, that is still in business and make pesticide for us, and all kinds of this. Well, if we have there is no organic in this. There is not a single ecological system in this. It's like completely you try to make farming in a very, very, very technological way. So you take away all the ecological stuff, and then you have the field as a like a petri dish that you put every time you need to every time you farm something, you need to put everything there that needs to be there in order to succeed. Like that's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So let me tell you one fact. There is no green technology. Ecological problems cannot be solved with technology. It needs ecological solutions. That's just how it is. Let's, but we can, like, we all people, we the people, we ultimately have the power. We have the power over on our politicians or over all the corporations, but we need to vote with our money and vote and tell and also vote the right people in that have common sense in the politics. We can change the landscape, and let's hear what Woody Harrelson has to say about how to fix it. He's also doing the Lord's work here. Let's hear.
Foods that have no actual food in them. We buy gallons of poisonous household cleaners when one degradable soft soap will do. We are poisoning our homes and wasting our hard-earned money for no good reason. Why? Because the advertising industry tells us to. They just want you to buy stuff. For example, if a company pollutes the environment or uses bad business practices, if you don't buy their stuff, they will change. If you don't want food with chemicals or GMOs in it, then don't buy it. The minute we start taking responsibility and spending our money wisely, every politician, every corporation, and leader around the world is going to know that we have woken up. This is the 21st century. If we use our resources wisely, there's no reason why anyone shouldn't have what they need. There's no reason whatsoever why people are still starving to death on our planet. And the common man or woman, whether they are Israeli or Palestinian, Protestant or Catholic or Iraqi or American, the common man just wants to live in peace and justice in a clean environment. When we look around the world and we see that that is not the case, we know that the will of the majority is not being listened to. That's the first sign that our system is broken. Government won't make these changes for us. Yet again, it is down to the common man. No company will continue a practice or a product that you, the consumer, will not buy. It's vitally important that you understand this because this gives you ultimate power to change the world you live in. Companies are extremely sensitive about you buying their products because if you don't buy their stuff, they go out of business. That's not something any company is willing to consider. And by choosing to spend your money wisely, you can promote those companies that do business in a socially responsible way.
So that's about... So, yeah, I'm not at all surprised that we see censorship from the EU nowadays, because they are actually afraid of us, the people. Because we are waking up, and it's just a matter of time before we come into common sense again and start pushing for the right agendas, and because we have had enough. I think COVID is a good example of also the how the global multinational corporations are just fooling us into believing their shitty agendas and trying to manipulate us into buying more shitty foods and what not. But we have had enough, and I think this now the EU is falling apart because of these corrupt politicians, because there is no trust left. If we can't trust these governments, then they cease to exist. It's just a matter of time, and I don't think we actually need them either, because as we can make deals with European countries that we can, for example, the things that matter, like that we have this Schengen, that we can travel in Europe, we can still manage to do that without the EU, or have a good relationship with our productions in different fields. I think we can. We have done it before in great ways. We can do it again, but we need to have a. Okay, we can vote in. I think we can vote in politicians that have common sense, but it's quite a. I think we are quite. There's probably thousands of examples, but this is just one example. Like the same year, EU extended the license for another 10 years for glyphosate. So.
Did you know that glyphosate is a systemic chemical? And what systemic means is when you have a crop, when you spray the glyphosate onto the plant, onto the leaves, it's absorbed into the leaf and it's translocated into the rest of the plant, which means that it goes into the plant and it stays in the plant. And just because you wash your vegetables doesn't mean it removes the glyphosate, and that's the thing. So here we are. This is good, clean dirt. As a farmer I used to work for many years ago used to say, even the soil, the bacteria in the soil have been known to increase serotonin levels in the mind. So getting your hands into dirt and feeling dirt is really positive thing. No chemicals here, just amazing soil, biodiversity, and all that comes with that. So as always, thank you for your support. You're keeping chemicals out of our food system. Thank you.
So they say that Elon is some kind of bad that he's interfering in the EU. But if we see how much Bill has pumped money into media corporations, and we know the WHO and all kinds of European different organizations and companies that he has poured billions of dollars, and this is not somehow interfering, but we know that Bill is in on making as much as money on this on vaccines and what not. He's really a monopolistic monopoly guy, and we know, everyone who knows how monopoly ends. It ends that one player owns everything on the board, and then all the rest just quits playing the game, because there is no reason to play the game anymore then, because you have only to pay one guy all the time, constantly. So we live in a world very close to John Carpenter's They Live. If you have seen that, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe even there are aliens among us, who knows. How can we end up on the wrong side of history this badly? I don't know. And I don't want to blame anyone particularly, or I don't want to put any more hate in this world. And I would like to point out that forgiveness and understanding is key. And we are humans, and we make mistakes. There's no doubt about it. And we are not gonna never be fully complete or perfect. That's never gonna happen, nor is there any good revenge. Suffering leads to more suffering, hate leads to more hate. Only love and forgiveness and the beginning of starting to listen can save us, really. So Jesus also said that love and pray and love also for your love and pray for your enemies also. So you should not put more hate in the world. We all make mistakes. So we who understand nature and its complexity know that cattle and animals, including us humans, are a part of a bigger systems working together. Disturbing the balance may have drastic effects, as we know, with our roads and industrial agricultural practices. We have already done this, destroyed our natural environments, but we still have the power to move into an era where we get back in harmony with natural ecosystems. And that would only mean a whole lot of density in richness. It's our choice. So I hope you're with me on this, and let's all make a peaceful revolution. I think this is, this is about it for this episode. Start your local business from local products. That's the best way you can help and support the local business as well. So see you in the next episode. Thank you and good night.